So you want to be the best? You want to get to that top number one spot at what you do? First of all, what does it mean to be the best? In this video, I'll use the common definition of being able to completely crush anyone and everyone at what you do at a competitive field and creating the most sought after creations in a creative field. This video will probably be my most controversial video yet, but it's also the video I spent the most amount of work in by far. So many people want to be the best, but only a handful of people actually achieve it. On my journey trying to understand what makes people the best at what they do, I've devised a fairly simple conclusion, but this does not mean it will be easy. This video is not for most people. If you get offended easily, or if you enjoy your normal, comfortable life, I suggest clicking off of this video, as a lot of people will not like the general message. Why listen to me? First and foremost, I'm a pen center, and although I'm not commonly considered the best overall pen center, I am technically the number one pen sitting world record holder with over 100 world records. But putting my pen sitting achievements aside, I've spent much of my life fascinated with what makes people the best at what they do, and I found one thing they all have in common. What is this one thing that will change someone from being great to amazing to the best? This one thing is consistent obsession. No, it's not 10,000 hours, or copying from the best, or even your practice methods, because all of those things figure themselves out when you're truly obsessed. Just knowing that the one thing is obsession may be counterproductive to improvement, so let me explain what I mean. Many of us have passion projects, that thing we love doing in our free time. The thing we would do a lot more if we didn't have to go to school or work. Now for some, this passion project of theirs is their job or career. And for those people, they see much greater success than the people that dislike or even hate their job. The people that hate what they do hate their lives and live in mediocrity. On the other hand, the people that love what they do love their lives and live in fulfillment. Now, just loving what you do is not enough to become number one. The first step is to understand what you love doing the most. Not for the result of doing it, but just because you enjoy doing it. Yeah, life is about the journey, not the destination, right? If you don't have something you love doing, then there's an extra step you need to do before dedicating your life to be number one at it. Cut out every source of distraction and waste of time that's getting you nowhere in life, and think about what you think about. What does this mean? Whenever a thought arises of something, be mentally alert to pick up on that thought and realize what it is you're thinking about. In other words, find where your mind wanders off to and what it thinks about most of the day. If you're on a date and you find yourself thinking about tennis, then great, maybe your thing is tennis. If you're in class and your mind wanders off to chess, then maybe that thing for you is chess. If you don't have any recurring thoughts, or what you think about most of the day is work you don't want to do, or stressful things in your life, then think about what you did as a child or past years of your life. What was that thing you loved doing the most? That thing you looked forward to every single day, and the reason you got out of bed most days. If you don't have that, then I really urge you to unplug from the distractions and find what motivates you. When you remove everything, the only thing you're left with is you. When you've reflected and thought of exactly what you want to be the best in, let's continue to the most important step on the path to the top. How to cultivate your inner obsession. Now you have your passion. Now what's the difference between passion and obsession? And why do you need to be obsessed to be the best? And how do you turn that passion into obsession? Great questions, I'm glad you asked. Number 1. There is a difference between passion and obsession. Is the salesman who enjoys drinking wine obsessed with drinking wine? Probably not, because if he was, his career would either be a drunk homeless man or a successful wine taster. Now let me ask again the other way. Is the professional basketball player with a 20-year-long career widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time passionate for what he does? No, he is not passionate. He is obsessed. What's the difference? When you're passionate, everyone cheers you on. People respect you for being well-balanced, having something you love doing, and being fairly successful at other things in life. When you're obsessed, that is your only life. Everything you do in life is related to your obsession. If people don't think you're mentally insane, you're not obsessed enough. Now, why do you need to be obsessed to be the best? When you're obsessed, you say no to everything that isn't related to your obsession. The only thing you can think about is your obsession. Being the best at that one thing means putting all of your possible energy into that one thing. Just think about it. If you're given a certain amount of points you can spend your life on, if you want to be the best at running, you're going to put every single point into running. You wouldn't even put a single point into reading if you truly wanted to be number one at running, because you know someone else out there might think the same thing. Do you want relationships? If you want to be the best, then the only relationship you can have is your obsession. And if you're truly obsessed enough, you wouldn't have a hard time cutting everyone that doesn't add to your obsession out of your life. I'm not saying all people are bad. In fact, if someone is adding to your obsession, then by all means keep them in your life. Those people are actually one of the most valuable assets. Now, if you're not obsessed enough, let's go on to how to actually cultivate your obsession. If you love what you do, but are not obsessed, then it's possible to force an obsession. If you're just passionate at what you do, it'll be much harder to force an obsession, but still possible. The steps to creating an obsession are similar with a weak passion to that of a strong one. If you feel neutral at what you do, or even slightly dislike what you're doing, then these steps can actually make you hate it even more, so just be careful what you do this to. Now the steps are simple. Simulate your life around this one thing as if it were your obsession. Similar to finding your purpose/obsession, cut out every source of pleasure and every source of energy drain sapping you of your potential. The only source of anything in your life should be this one thing. Over time, it will be the only thing you can think about, because you're not going to be doing anything else. Now this is a double-edged sword, like I said before, because if you enjoy it, then you'll probably enjoy it more. But it's possible for you to grow to hate it, especially if you don't already have a strong passion for it. If that's the case, then maybe you chose the wrong thing and should start back at step 0. Now that you have your obsession, it's time for the second part of the equation, consistency. Obsession is one thing, but if you're only going to be obsessed with it for a month, you'll never be the best. The road to the top is like running 100 marathons against the most competitive people in your niche. You can't win just one marathon, or even 50. If you're obsessed for only 79 marathons but you lose your drive on the 80th, you'll never be the best. You have to stick with it no matter what, because there's always going to be someone else out there doing it for longer than you. Okay, now that you get that consistency is key, how do you actually cultivate it? When you're obsessed and you want to stay obsessed, the basic advice of starting small, something is better than nothing, and scheduling your practice times are good, but they're not good enough to take you to that next level of consistency. When you're obsessed, you're going to want to go big, forget small. You're going to want to do more than just something, and you're going to want to do that thing all the time. The most important thing for staying consistently obsessed is to change your identity. Change your beliefs. Change who you are. You're not the kind of person that plays video games after a hard day at work. You're not the kind of person that would rather go out and party instead of working on your obsession. Instead, you're obsessed with the hard work and would rather do that than anything else. In reality, we are what we consume, even on a mental level. So the next time you're doing something other than your obsession, ask yourself, why am I really doing this? Whose beliefs led me to do this? Instead, replace these beliefs with your own. If you want to be the best, you can't believe the same thing as a mediocre nobody that doesn't even care about your obsession. The beautiful thing is, you get to shape who you are. You get to live the legacy your obsession becomes.